everyone, I'm Carmen for Aventis, and I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy during this period of time. So, within a span of just a few weeks, many of us have had to adapt to new changes that we face in our workplace or even at home. As these are all new challenges that we're facing, no doubt we may face new anxieties, new concerns, or even new stresses as well. And we understand that this is definitely not an easy transition for anyone at all. At Aventis, because we care for you, therefore we will be accompanying you through this season with our new welfare package, AventisCares, customized just for you. AventisCares is a live stream series of 3 sessions where we invite guest speakers to teach us how to overcome our anxieties and stresses with mindfulness practices. Secondly, how to put on a positive mindset to overcome our challenges. And finally, how do we maintain our productivity levels even as we're telecommuting and working from home? And without further ado, let's invite our first guest speaker, mindfulness coach Miss Erin to guide us through how we can manage our anxieties and stress with mindfulness practices.
Hello. Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining me this morning. And I understand for Aventis, you're all working from home, right? Before I start guiding you through the practices, I also want to know, I'm curious, how are we all coping with working from home? How has it been for you so far? And have you been meeting any challenges? If you have anything to share, you can raise your hand to let me know. Yes, Roshini, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Okay, so
Yes, hi.
Okay, so one of the challenges I face is finding a comfortable spot to work at. I find myself shifting between like my hall, my room, like different corners of the house to find a comfortable spot, but I haven't managed to find a very productive spot yet.
Okay, and what defines a productive spot for you?
Not sure. Like, I still feel like working at work, like at my desk and my seat, is still more productive than here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there's you maybe there's a need for some familiarity in the space that you're in, right? Okay, yeah. All right. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Rashini. Anyone else would like to share what kind of challenges you're facing? Yes, Carmen. If you'd like to unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think maybe a challenge is in terms of, I think like Rosh said, I mean, being productive is something that I think could be a challenge now because there are a lot of distractions around, and also I think because there's a lot of noise around as well, so it's quite distracting sometimes as I'm doing my work. Then there's a lot. So I guess today's course is about how to be mindful of what I'm doing at the present moment. So I think I want to try to cut out distractions, better, or maybe organize my time better, organize my flow of my day better. So more towards that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Carmen. Anyone else? Rina, would you like to share something?
Yeah, hi. Okay,
yes,
thank
hi.
you. Okay, so I think for myself will be more on anxiety because working from home and working from office is totally different. The dynamics, everything, Yeah, so it's more on anxiety that I actually have now. It's like I won't be as productive as I'm working from the office, and also the people around me now we are everyone remote working. So yeah, the togetherness as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Okay, so far I'm still okay with working from home, but I just found that my mindset is totally changed. Like I'm not like 100% putting my effort to work already. Like because of maybe of the surrounding, like my bed, the K-dramas over there. So I mean my mindset is already changed because of the title from home.
Yes, so a lot of distractions as well, right? Okay. Thank you, Exna. Thank you.
I just feel that working from home is actually maybe I'm not familiar with working from home at the moment, so I feel there's a lot of things to adapt.
Okay. All right. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so thanks for sharing. And I recognize all the concerns and challenges that you have. I think mindfulness can be of great benefit to us, especially at this moment we're all coping with new environments, all these changes, and adapting ourselves to these changes. Right. So there's one key concept that I'd like to cover today about mindfulness, and that is about being present. Right. So some of the challenges that came up is distractions. So when we're at work, we know that this space is for work at the workplace, right? But when you're at home, then you get a lot of distractions. You know, your bed, you can watch all the dramas, all the Netflix you want, you know, and you have people at home too, to maybe to interact with you, and that could be a source of distraction as well. So how do we manage that? How do we make sure that we are really present with whatever that we are doing, whether it's work or whether it's just your day-to-day routine, right? Because now we are sort of blending work and life together, and sometimes that can be a little bit too fluid. How do we remain productive? And a lot of this has to do with our attention, where our attention is all the time. And it's also very important to use mindful attention to address anxiety issues like what Mina shared, right? You're anxious about what might happen. You think about the worst case scenarios that could happen, right? I can't work as productively. I don't know how to communicate or connect with my colleagues. So mindfulness can actually help us to really ground ourselves to our present surroundings, right? So there's one key concept that we need to know and to practice it as well, which is that our mind can take us far, far away, right? Whether when you're working on something and then you're thinking about, you know, the scenarios in your Korean dramas, right? You're thinking about, you know, just looking after your kid or talking to your parents or something like that, or the mind takes you far away to worry about stuff, right? So what can bring us back to our present environment is really our body, right? So we must bring our attention from the mind back to our body in the here and now. So I'm going to guide you through the practices that can be done anywhere in your homes as we're all telecommuting. And then after that, you can, when we're done with the practices, you can actually share with me what came up for you and some of the thoughts that you have while practicing. Okay, so first things first, we are going to engage in a practice of drinking water. All right. So we want to adopt a very healthy lifestyle, especially when we're at home. We get to sort of reflect on what our day-to-day routines are like, and it's always good to hydrate ourselves, right? But if you think about how we drink water, usually, right? We just chug it down like that. We're thirsty, we just drink. We don't think twice about it. We don't pay attention to the water or to the process of drinking water. Okay, so we're going to do that today. Just a very short, casual practice, right? So I'll need you to show me your glass of water or cup of water or bottle of water. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, good. So what you're going to do now is to not drink it first. We're going to open our senses to this water. Okay, so take note, this is not coffee, this is not tea, this is plain water, but we're just going to observe it. All right. So I want you to just use your sense of sight to just take in the visuals of this water. Maybe look at the container that's holding this water, whether it's a cup, a glass, or a bottle. Take a look at the shape, the size, right? Look at the water itself. So you may want to peek into the water, look at the transparency, noticing the light reflecting off the surface, okay? Maybe if you can, you hold it up against the light and look at it through the light and see what that's like. Okay? Yeah. And then you may also want to just very gently swirl it around in the container just to observe the movement, the fluidity of the water. Okay, good. Right. Now we're going to use our sense of smell. So just bringing this close to your nose, and we're just going to take in the smell, any smell. Does water have a smell? So be really curious about this, right? Maybe there's a very subtle smell. Maybe you notice no smell. So if you notice no smell, that is just your experience. So you just notice that there's no smell, right? Okay, so now we're going to take a deep breath in and just take a deep whiff of this water. Okay, good. All right, so now we're all going to take a sip of this, but we're not going to swallow it yet. Okay, take a sizable sip of this, not too much, not too little, and we're just going to keep it inside the mouth. Okay, do not swallow. Okay, as you keep it inside, don't swallow yet. Okay, just notice what this feels like, the wetness inside your mouth. Okay, pay attention to the temperature of the water. Is it cool? Is it warm? All right. Okay, and lightly just swirl it inside your mouth. Just move it inside your mouth and notice the movements of the water, what it feels like. Okay, and then very, very slowly, one bit at a time, I'd like you to begin to swallow this water. And notice how this water is just trickling down or flowing down the throat, noticing the sensations of the water moving down. One bit at a time. One bit at a time. Okay? Right? Okay, so now make sure that you've swallowed everything. Okay, so this is a very short practice, and we're only doing this with one mouthful of water. But of course, you can continue to do it with the entire glass full, right? So this is one way that we can stay present by using our senses, right? So you may notice that when you're drinking water very slowly this way, you're also noticing a lot of thoughts coming up in the mind, right? The thoughts, maybe you're thinking, why must I drink so slowly? Right? And you think, oh, I could make better use of this time to do some work and get some things on my checklist checked off or something. So this is the mind at work. So the mind is always thinking. So the moment we kickstart into this mode, our mind takes us far away. So we are no longer present with the drink in our hand. You can also practice this when you are drinking your coffee, your tea, or even just eating your breakfast in the morning, just as a morning mindfulness routine, just to open your five senses to the food that you're having and really paying attention to how you're nourishing your body. I'm going to bring you through some stretching movements just to rejuvenate our body a little bit. And nowadays, we are very much parked in front of our laptops, in front of our phones. We're not moving very much, especially now that we're at home, right? You can just work from the comfort of your bed or your couch. We're all becoming couch potatoes, and that's really, really not good. So we want to get moving, but stretching movements, when we're doing mindful movements, we want to be paying attention to the body. The body can tell us a lot about our state of mind, our state of health, right? So we are going to go through the movements very slowly. I'm going to bring you through very easy stretching movements that everyone can do. Okay, but the key thing is you have to pay attention to the body at all times. So if the mind wanders away, you just bring yourself back to the body again. So it's not about doing this right. It's not about doing this well. It's really just about being able to pay attention to the body. Okay, so now let's get into position. So if you have some space, I'd like to see at least the top half of the body so I can just guide you through the movements, and we'll all be standing up. Awesome. All right. Okay. So now we are going to do a lot of body awareness, all right, and really paying attention to the body. We're not intentionally trying to feel something, but simply going to notice the body for just the way it is as we're moving. Okay, so let's check in on our posture first, ensuring that we're standing up straight and tall. Okay, feet must be flat on the floor, about hip distance apart. All right, okay. So now make sure your shoulders are relaxed. So don't tense up your shoulders like that. Relaxing your shoulders, arms hanging down the sides of the body, fingers loose and relaxed. Okay, so for a start, let's all just close our eyes and let's invite some awareness to this body in this standing posture, noticing the body in this stillness. So you could get a sense of the space around the body, the temperature of the air around you. Maybe you're also noticing certain sensations like temperatures, heat, coolness, Maybe there's a tension here and there in the body. Maybe you notice your breath in the body. And if we're really still, when we're really still, maybe we can also notice the heartbeat. So whatever it is that's present in the body, we just observe. We just allow the body to be just the way it is. Okay. Now let's very gently open our eyes. Okay. So for safety, we're going to keep our eyes open as we engage in the movements. All right. Let's now bring our attention to the arms and notice how the arms are hanging down by the sides of the body, loose and relaxed. Okay. And then we're going to zoom in on just the right arm, just the right arm. And I'd like to invite you to very gently begin to raise the right arm up by the side, keeping the movements very slow, as if you're drawing a very large semicircle with your right arm. Okay, so very gently, one moment at a time, lifting it. As you're lifting it, noticing the weight of the arm. What other sensations are there? Lifting past the shoulder level and just allowing the arm to reach up towards the ceiling. Okay, so going all the way until your arm reaches up the ceiling. Good. And now I'd like you to stretch your fingers really towards the ceiling. Stretch it up so that you feel the stretch down the right side of the body. Very good. Okay, so now if this feels comfortable for you, I'd like you to now lift up your left heel. Just lifting up your left heel and stretching even more. Stretching even more further up. Good. You can look up towards the ceiling as well. Okay, and then letting your heel come back down, noticing the contact with the floor. Now relaxing the stretch, and the same way, we're going to allow the right arm to come back down, just as slowly, and noticing what's happening now in the right arm. What sensations are present? Heat, tingling sensation, numbness, and allowing the arm to come all the way back down to the side of the body. All right, good. Okay, if you're noticing sensation still, you can just lightly shake it off like that, very lightly shaking the arm. Good. Okay, so now back to our stable standing posture. And now we're going to zoom in on the left arm. Okay, now very gently do the same thing. We're going to lift the left arm up by the side of the body. Noticing the movement, drawing one large semicircle. Noticing the weight in the arm as you lift it past the shoulder level. And reaching all the way up to the ceiling. Yes, so noticing this, the body in this extended posture. And then stretching your fingers all the way up to the ceiling. Noticing the stretch down the left side of the body. Good. Now, if you want to, you can lift up your right heel and stretching further up. Gazing at the ceiling or at the hand. Noticing your body in this posture. What is present at this moment? Okay, and now putting your heel back down, noticing the contact with the floor, relaxing the stretch, and very slowly resting with whatever sensations that you notice, allowing the left arm to come all the way back down. Not trying to change anything, we're just simply noticing the sensations and coming all the way back down. Very good. Okay, so when you're ready, you can shake out the left hand if needed. And coming back to our stable standing posture. Okay, now one last stretch. We're going to do both arms now. Okay, both arms by the sides, drawing two large semicircles, beginning to lift both arms up very gently and very slowly. Noticing the weight of the arms, noticing the movement, raising past the shoulder level, and reaching up towards the ceiling. Good, and just extending your fingers all the way up to the ceiling. Noticing the stretch down both sides of the body. Now, only if this feels safe for you, okay? Only if this feels safe, we are going to lift our heels up and just coming to tippy toes. Just coming up to our tippy toes, and we're going to sustain this balancing posture for a few moments, all right? Just noticing your body in this balancing posture, noticing what comes up for you, any thoughts, any feelings, what are the sensations in the body, any very micro movements that are happening in the legs right now. Okay, good. So now letting your heels come back down, noticing the stretch, noticing the contact, and just allowing both the arms to come back down by the sides. Same thing, keeping it nice and slow, resting with whatever sensations that are here. Past the shoulder level and coming all the way back down to the side of the body. Okay, very good. So now shaking both hands out. Coming back to our stable standing posture. Allowing the eyes to gently close. Inviting awareness to the body now. What is present now in the body? Maybe you're noticing sensations of heat or warmth. Paying attention to the quality of the breath. Noticing heartbeat. Good. Now when you're ready, let's take a deep breath in. And very gently exhale and allowing the eyes to open. All right, so we're now going to move on to a practice sitting down. Okay, so we can adjust ourselves, take the next few moments to come back to the screen. So now we are going to just pay attention to the breath in the body. Why? Because I talked about how the mind can bring us far, far away, right? But the body is always telling us that we are here, right now. And the breath is a part of the body that is always with us wherever we go, okay? So paying attention to the body, to the breath, just the way it is, can help us to anchor ourselves, can help us to maintain a little bit more calm and balance, right? And it also just reminds us that we are present. Okay, so we're just going to take a few minutes and we're going to rest with the sensations of the breath. All right, so when you're ready, you just have to make sure that you're sitting up straight and tall. Okay, but not too stiff, so don't arch your back like that. So shoulders relaxed. Your hands can be resting on your lap. Okay, and for this practice, you can choose to have your eyes closed completely. If you're not comfortable with that, you can leave them open, but lower your gaze towards the table or the floor. Okay? So when you're ready, I'm just going to use the sound of a bell to signal the start and end of this practice. Okay, let's begin by just getting a sense of our body in this space, in this sitting posture. Becoming aware of the overall shape and size of this body. The space that the body is taking up. And now when you're ready, very gently just bringing some awareness to the breath that is moving in and out of the body. So just noticing the body sitting here and breathing in and breathing out. So there's no need to regulate or control the breath in any way. So letting go of any need to lengthen or deepen the breath and just allowing the breath to be natural. So we're just sort of sitting back and just noticing the breath moving in and moving out of the body. And then just becoming aware of which part of the body do you best notice the breath? Do you best sense the breath? Maybe you can be aware of the flow of the air in and out through the nostrils. Some of us may like to rest our attention on the movements of the breath in the body. So how does the body move along with the in and out of the breath? Maybe noticing the chest area or the shoulders as they rise as you breathe in and the release as you breathe out. And maybe at the belly area, at the abdomen, noticing how the belly expands with each inhalation and releasing with each exhalation. Or you can just rest in this stillness and just noticing the entire body sitting here and breathing in and breathing out. It's perfectly okay if you notice that your mind has taken you somewhere else. Maybe your attention has drifted away to some thoughts or some sounds around you. It's perfectly normal. All you need to do is to invite your attention back to the breath again. So this mind wandering can happen a few times. It can happen 100 times. So if your attention wanders away 100 times, just bring it back 100 times. Paying attention to one breath at a time. And in a few moments, allowing the sound of the bell to let you know the end of this practice. When you hear the sound of the bell, you may very gently allow the eyes to open or widen. And just allowing the eyes to completely open. Let's take a few minutes to maybe share a little bit about our experience, what you noticed. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad, right? It is just your experience. So you can ask me any questions or you can just share what you noticed during the 3 practices that we did just now, okay? So if you have anything to share, you can raise your hand. Yes, Carmen, please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. So personally for myself, when I began the mindfulness practice, I felt there was most tension in my stomach area and also in my head. But later on, as we did the exercises of the stretching as well as the awareness of breath, I was more aware of that tension. And then I surprisingly, I was quite amazed at how as I became more aware, it was released gradually, like as I became aware of the tension. So it's quite a surprising feeling for me. Before this exercise, I knew there was tension, but when I was aware of it, I really knew how tense it was. Then as I became aware of it, that's when it slowly dissipated quite gradually.
To address your sharing on the tension first, all right? So I think it's very interesting for you to notice that when you bring awareness, so usually when we notice certain sensations in the body, and especially when it's more intense or it translates to a very unpleasant kind of feeling for us, we usually do 2 things. We either try to fight it, right? Or we try to ignore it and distract ourselves to something else. So you can imagine like when you have a tension headache, right? It feels very unpleasant. So you want to go and do something else, or you have a very hard time struggling with it. But when we bring this kind of very gentle awareness, sort of like shining a very soft spotlight on that area of tension, you begin to notice that it shifts. It shifts. It's not always there all the time, right? Sometimes it comes, it tells you something about yourself, about your state of mind and body, and it can also change and fade away and disappear. Okay, so this is cultivating a different relationship to our body, especially. Yeah. Okay. So that was very interesting.
Okay, so for myself, right, for breathing, right, I feel that it is very hard to not control your breath. Yeah, when you're aware of it, then it's like you're taking control of your breath. But then when you shed it, you just let it, your natural breathing, which I find is a bit difficult.
Yes, absolutely. So this has to do with habit as well, because we are really not used to being aware of the breath, even though it's there all the time. It's on autopilot all the time, so we don't really notice it. We don't even know that we're breathing, but it's what's keeping us alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for a start, it can seem a little strange, but this will come with practice. The general answer is that there's no hard and fast rule as to when you can practice them. My suggestion is for you to look at your day-to-day routine and decide for yourself which are the pockets of time that is most ideal for you to work in these practices, and think about what is the intention of practicing. Do you want to practice because you want to sort of just refresh your body before the start of each work day? Or do you want to sort of just wind down at the end of the day after a long day of work? Or do you want to take a pause in between your work in the middle of the day? Right? So my suggestion, of course, is to practice this as much as you can. So any pockets of time, right? You can, whenever you pour yourself a drink, you can always take the first sip or the first few mouthfuls very mindfully. Right? Stretching, we are parked in front of our laptops all the time. So can we take a break, a 5 or 10 minute break every 90 minutes of working, and just pay attention to the body while stretching, right? Breath, when the mind is just going non-stop and there's incessant worrying about your work, right? And just a lot of processing going on. Can you just sit back and just allow yourself maybe 1 or 2 minutes to just observe the breath this way? So this can happen essentially at any time of the day. So this is a really good question and very relevant as well, because we used to be able to be together physically in a space. Now we are all remotely, so there's a weird dissonance here, right? We are connected, but we're also disconnected. So we can be really creative about this, I think. So my suggestion is look at the practices that I've guided you through today and think about how you could work these into your moments as a team together. So for example, drinking water. The essence of this practice is opening your senses, right? So for example, to food or drink. So in the morning, could you all have your breakfast together as a team before you even start talking about work? Just put work aside first. Just, do a Zoom like this, a conference like this, and then everybody just enjoy your meal together, opening your 5 senses to it. Okay? This is one way. Stretching movement, you can always do that as a team activity. In the middle of the day, maybe one of you would be calling each other and say, oh, guys, it's time to take a break. Ladies, it's time to take a break. And then you do a sort of like a stretching together, right? Maybe before you begin a meeting online or on Zoom, you can essentially sit with one another in silence, watching your breath for 1 minute, just 1 minute before you start the meeting. So this helps to ground us a little before we even begin any interactions or any discussions about work. And at the end of each meeting, you can do the same as well. 1 minute for everyone to ground ourselves again before moving on, transitioning to the next piece of work that you need to do.
So, did you enjoy our first session of AventisCares? We hope that these mindfulness practices have been beneficial in helping you better manage your stress and anxieties. So stay tuned to our second session of AventisCares for you to build a positive and resilient mindset to tackle any challenges that come your way. See you then!